Welcome back to the Boys and Ball Pod. If you liked the pod, hit the like, subscribe. Let's go.
You're a bitch. I just want to put that out there. You're soft.
All I'm saying is, Bruce, I need you to get in the game. Dan, leave it in. Bruce, you're lacking. We're calling you out. Dan got called out a couple days ago. He selectively edited it out. Bruce, you're getting called out today. Pick it up. All
No,
right. NCAA tournament.
Dan's got my
NCAA
back,
tournament.
bro. No,
NCAA
Dan's got my
tournament.
back,
Let's
bro.
go. All right. Hey, we got some matchups in here. We got some tough matchups. We're gonna start in the South bracket. Number 1 seed. They're going up against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Alabama. I don't think Corpus Christi has a chance here. This is an Alabama team. They're too good. They're too good for this. They shoot the ball well. They're dominating this game.
Yeah, they're one of the favorites to win the tournament. I don't think they dropped to a 16 seed off rip. So yeah, like I said, I agree with JJ. Yes.
Hey, this is the tournament where anything can happen. 16 seeds have beat the ones before. I'm pulling for the underdog. Down goes Bama. Let's go.
It's happened one time in tournament history. It's not happening this year.
So you're telling me it has happened? So statistically, of it happening, the chance is not zero?
The chance is not zero, but the chance is not good.
Pulling for the underdog. Let's go 16. Go Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I agree. Alabama's going to win.
Brandon Miller's probably the best freshman. I'm going to put that out there. I mean, I know there's some off the field issues, but he's probably the best freshman in college basketball this year. He's dominant.
I think he's going to move into that 2 spot. I think people are deciding to pick him over Scoot Henderson in the draft.
He's going top 5 guaranteed. I think even if he falls because of some of that off the field stuff or off the court stuff, he's still going top 5. There's too much talent there.
Yeah.
That 8-9 matchup in this bracket, Maryland, West Virginia. This is 8-9s are always, pretty balanced teams here. Who y'all boys got?
I'm taking Maryland. I really liked them towards the end of the season. I liked what their new coach has done. So, West Virginia, they're a hard team to play, especially in a tournament with that full court press. But I just think Maryland's got the edge going into this game.
Okay, well, I'm rolling fat opposite direction.
I understand.
West Virginia, they're battle hardened, they're tested, and they have the most winning active coach in the NCAA. It's time. Mountaineers. Huggy's gonna get another win in the tournament. They'll be seeing Alabama.
I also was gonna ride with West Virginia over Maryland. I really want to see some explosive defense. I like watching them play.
Nice. Agreeing with JT.
Yeah. He cut me off. I was going to jump in there and I was going to say it first, but he stepped on my dick.
I like Maryland in this matchup. Dan mentioned the new coach, Kevin Willard. I just like the way their team plays. They have some big wins on the season against some ranked opponents. And then Jameer Young, the sophomore guard, he's electric, and he plays big for them in those big games. So I expect Maryland to go on top, and I think they could give Alabama a tough time, maybe sweat that out. But we'll talk about that matchup next time.
I think this is going to be a little questionable matchup. This next one here, College of Charleston got the 12 seed against San Diego State, the winner of the Mountain West. Now, the narrative everyone's talking about, Mountain West had a couple teams make the tournament last year. Not a single one of them won a game. Mm-hmm. So does that turn around this year, or is this just a conference that looks good playing each other and then doesn't show up in the tournament? But I'm rolling San Diego State here.
Ooh,
I think College of Charleston's a little too small. I think San Diego State they're too veteran. They have a 9-man rotation, 7 seniors, 2 juniors. They're too deep. They're too experienced. They're not going down in the first round.
I agree. I got San Diego State as well. I just think the experience, just like you just talked about, the 9-man rotation, the kind of guard play they have. College Charleston could give them a run. They play hard, but these two teams play the same style of play, so I just can't see Charleston upsetting San Diego State. Plus, Charleston lost to North Carolina this year by like 27. So I'm not too worried about this for San Diego State.
San Diego State. Next question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Dan?
I'm also taking San Diego State. I really like this
Okay.
team. It is what it is.
All right. All right. Not West Virginia, Virginia, same side of the bracket. They're going up against Furman. To me, Virginia's not a 4 seed. This is a team that's closer to a 7 or 8 seed. I think the ACC was pretty down this year. I don't think they were a very good conference top to bottom. They weren't dominant like they normally are. I think this is a fraudulent 4 seed. I think Furman takes them down.
I'm also going to take Furman here. I know that we had Tootie show some love for Furman on a few podcasts ago, and I'll give him love in the tournament. Let's go.
I'm with you, man. I got Furman as well. I've been struggling on this pick. I've been thinking Virginia the whole way, and I've been listening to a couple other stuff and doing my research, and saw that Furman takes some of the best shots in the country efficiency wise, 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage. They're in the top 25 in the country, and their shot selection is just at the top of the country in terms of just the type of looks they get, the offensive sets they run. And Virginia likes to run a slow pace. So even if they slow down the pace, Furman's going to be able to hit shots, which is a perfect recipe for an upset. So I'm calling Furman in this one. Jalen Slauson and Mike Bothwell, they have to play big, but I like Furman.
I'm going the opposite of you guys. I'm taking Virginia. I know. Yeah, JT says they don't look like a number 4 team, but come March Madness time, Virginia always seems to pull out something crazy every time.
Except the time they were a 1 seed and they lost to a 16.
We don't want to talk about that. That's not what we're talking. We didn't come here to talk about their failures. We came to talk about their successes. But no, I really like them. Do I think that they're going to win it all? No, but they're a super good defensive team, and I think that they can make Furman play to their pace, and I think that's where Virginia will win.
Okay. I think this next matchup is a team that we have been talking about. This is another veteran team. They made a run in last year's tournament, and they're looking poised to do it again. And they're playing against a team that just got demolished in their conference tournament game. So Creighton's going up against NC State here, 6 versus 11. For me, I'm going with Creighton. I don't think NC State making the tournament was questionable to me. It doesn't really make sense to me why they made it in over Clemson. I mean, you could say they had a little bit of a better non-conference schedule, but I don't know. I think this NC State team is not going to play well. I think Creighton might win by 25.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, I also like Creighton in this matchup. I'm not real high on NC State. Like you said, they squeaked into the tournament. I think there were definitely some better teams that got left out that probably should have deserved that slot. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And Creighton's super dominant, and they come out and they win big games, and I don't see anything different happening here.
I'll triple down on Creighton. I think they're probably just going to come out here and just bully them up and down the court.
Yeah, I like Creighton as well. They're one of my favorite teams in the tournament, so I'm hoping they can demolish NC State as well. Might be close in the first half, but I have Creighton overall.
Yeah. This next matchup, Tootie, you love this conference, the Big West. You love it. You got UC Santa Barbara going up against number 3 Baylor. Lead us off in this one, Tootie.
All right. Well, I do love this conference. I like, I've talked about UC, SB, University of Santa Barbara, a couple times on the pod before, but I do think Baylor comes on top out of this game. Now, they are vulnerable just because Baylor's kind of struggled down late, but they're Baylor, man. They've had some really big wins this year. And Santa Barbara, I just don't think has the overall talent to upset this team. They really rely on 2 guys, Miles Norris and AJ Mitchell. So I just can't see in those 2 guys being enough to take out a team like Baylor, especially with Keontae George. I mean, he's He's another guy that will be probably in the first round lottery pick in this draft. So, but it could be a close game for guys that are looking at the spread.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think the talent of Baylor is gonna, beat out UC Santa Barbara. It just you live a bigger school. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Baylor as a team that's going to go far in this tournament. I think that next round matchup against what I expect to be Creighton, I think is a bad matchup for Baylor, but this matchup here is a good matchup for Baylor. I can't see a scenario where they lose this game.
Yeah, I can't really either. I feel like this is going to be a game that's going to be close to probably like the first half of the first quarter. And then I feel like after that halfway point, Baylor's going to pick up steam. They're going to run away with it and take that momentum into halftime and steamroll them in the second half.
Okay. All right. The next matchup, a conference we've covered a lot. We love our mid-majors around here. The Mountain West. Again, in that same situation as San Diego State, does this conference get a win? Utah State is going up against Missouri. 7-10. Utah State's the 10 seed. Who y'all boys got?
I have the 7 seed here. Mizzou's basketball program is pretty sweet. They do some pretty fun things down over in Mizzou. And playing in I know the home field advantage doesn't matter, but like their fans usually travel pretty well, and they have a very, very, very intimidating presence at most stadiums that Mizzou travels.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like Mizzou in this. They got a Cleveland State transfer, Demoy Hodge, really good shooting guard. They're smaller, so it's going to be tough kind of guarding those bigger guys from Utah State. Utah State's typically a little bit of taller team, but I just really like the athleticism and the shooting ability from Mizzou. And they got guys that are kind of crafty. Kobe Brown, he's undersized, but, he's a big forward, 6'5", 240. He plays bigger than what he is, and I just think they're a scrappy squad. The way they beat Tennessee in the SEC tournament. So I look for Mizzou to win this game and maybe have a little Cinderella story.
I'm going opposite direction. Two Mountain West teams get a win in the tournament. Utah State stuns Missouri, advances to the next round.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
I still got Missouri coming out on top of this matchup. It just is what it is.
This is one of my upsets. I like this one. I just I don't think either team moves on to the Sweet 16. I don't think that happens. But yeah, I think Utah State sneaks out. It's going to be a close game. I don't think neither team gets blown out. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Utah State pulls it out.
It's funny you say that about them going there because Joe Lenardi released, how he does those preview videos. He talked about Utah State winning this game, then going to play Arizona, upsetting them, and then going to the Sweet 16 and losing, I guess, to maybe Creighton.
That's a wild pick.
Yeah, and for him to make that was kind of crazy. But he mentioned that Utah State coach talk about Virginia losing to UMBC. That's the head coach for Utah State is Barry Odom, and he's the same coach that coached that team for UMBC that beat Virginia. So he knows how to play in this tournament. He knows how to play in these big games. So he'll be prepared and he'll be ready. The Missouri coach is new to this. Can't remember his name, but I think it will be a really good matchup. This has potential to be one of the better games in the tournament.
I agree. I think it's one of the better first round matchups. Probably the most even first round matchup, honestly.
Yeah.
Other than a game we're going to get to that I think is going to be a little bit better. but to finish out the south side of this bracket, Arizona plays Princeton. I don't think Princeton beat Yale, but I don't think Princeton was the best team in their conference. This is a one and done team. They made the tournament. They're not going anywhere. Arizona is too good.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona rolls.
Yeah.
I am going to go the other way, and I'm going to ride with my pick because I picked Princeton to win the Ivy League. So they won the Ivy League, so I'm going to roll with them hot. Let's go. Why not?
Oh my God.
I'll roll with my picks.
Jesus.
Hey, I will die on the hills. I'll die on the hills of my picks, bro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you 500 if Princeton beats them.
Word.
Oh my God.
Flip it, Dan. You got that on camera.
Who do y'all boys got? Who do y'all boys got? This is just
Arizona.
Arizona.
okay. All right. We're gonna roll down to the east side.
Y'all are hurting me. Don't discount me too hard.
We got number 1 seed Purdue and Zach Edey taking on Fairleigh Dickinson. Now this is a team that's starting big man is 6'6". Their 4 is 6'4". They start 2 under 6 foot guards. How the hell are you gonna guard 7'4" Zach Edey? The answer is you're not. You're gonna get blown out. Purdue rolls.
So remember that thing I just said about riding with my picks? So like they just played in to make it to the 16 seed. So I'll call an upset here against Purdue as well. I ride with my teams, bro.
Okay.
Dude, I'll die on these hills. I do that. It doesn't matter to me. Someone's got to do it.
All right. Well, I got Purdue. It's not even going to be a question, but I don't think Fairleigh Dickinson can upset them, but I think it has the potential to be a fun game in the first half. If those guards, I know they're tiny, Purdue's going to have the advantage with Edey, but those guards are really fun to watch. And they play fast. They play kind of flashy. They can knock down shots. Maybe they'll give Purdue, a tough time for the first 10 minutes, and it could be fun.
So watch the game for the first 10 minutes. Got it.
Then turn it off and just say, okay, Purdue's winning.
Game's over. All right. This next matchup, this is one I think we're going to have a little controversy because I think me and Tootie have wildly different picks here. 8 versus 9. Memphis versus FAU.
Here we go.
Tootie, lay it out there. Who you taking? And we all know it. We know it. Throw it out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I might have to have my own separate podcast to talk about this team. I have Florida Atlantic beating Memphis. Honestly, I could see them beating Memphis from anywhere to 10 to 18 points. I think Florida Atlantic has the deepest guard rotation in the country. They have a big man that's over 7 foot. He can score down low. He can move his feet well. He protects the rim. But they also just have elite shooting on the outside. They block in on defensively. Dusty May is one of the best mid-major coaches, really one of the best coaches in the country this year. Florida Atlantic, I'm just going to be calling it. I hope you guys have them far in your bracket because they have the potential to be a Final Four team.
Not only do I not have them going far in my bracket, I have them losing this game to Memphis. All right. Listen, Memphis last year, they returned a lot of their players. Memphis had to play against Chet Holmgren and Drew Timme in the tournament last year as a little bit of an undersized team. They gave them a run for their money. I think Memphis is set up for the tournament. They are coached well. I think this is a good game. I don't think either team gets blown out. I think this is a good game. Memphis gets by, but if Memphis does not win this game, the winner of this game will beat Purdue.
Okay. Thank you.
You mean Fairleigh Dickinson?
No.
Just kidding. That's not how the bracket works.
I also got Memphis in this matchup. I think they're going to be riding off that high of beating Houston, to win their tournament. And I don't, like you said, I think it's gonna be a close game against FAU, but I still think Memphis is just going to be that team this year.
Dude, don't worry, Tootie, because I'm backing you with this, with that FAU's deep guard rotation, bro.
They're elite, man. And Memphis struggles to score the ball. I think, honestly, I'm going to go in reverse of what Dan said. I think because they won this American League championship, they're riding high. I think it's going to be, have a little bit of a hangover, kind of having this feeling that you can just come in and beat anybody. And obviously, you would think that at the Division I level, they'll be playing at a high level competitively.
Yeah,
but
sometimes that feeling of I can beat anybody, you just come out and you blow someone out.
I think that's how FAU feels. So I just
okay.
I warned the country.
Okay.
All right. Here, this next matchup, I think is the best matchup of round 1. You have the hottest team in college basketball going up against the team with the longest win streak in college basketball. Number 5 Duke versus 12 Oral Roberts. Who y'all boys got?
I'm taking
Well-
the hot hand. I'm taking Duke.
I got to ride with the win streak, man. Like that's what the theme has been. You know, it's March. The tournament is here. The bright lights are going to be on. Players are going to play. It's going to go with the hot hand. Ride the win streak.
Okay, Duty.
I got Duke. I think Max Adams is really good, and Connor Vanover is a really good transfer from Arkansas for them. He's 7'5", could shoot and pass, but Kyle Filipowski is just a whole load down low, and I mean Duke's rolling right now. They have the potential to make a big run in this tournament if they don't have to play FAU.
Yeah, not. I think this is gonna be a great game. I really struggle with this pick because I love this Oral Roberts team, but they struggled in their conference tournament. And I always talk about momentum. Yes, they were winning, but they were not beating teams the way they should have been beating teams with how good this team is.
Mm-hmm.
Duke, on the opposite effect, played out of their mind in the conference tournament in a better conference. So, like Bruce said, you got to ride the hot hand, but unfortunately, the hot hand is Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Oral Roberts is stuttering a little bit right now. Not only does Duke win this game, but Duke goes to the Final Four.
Ooh, it's a bold pick.
Wow,
You like that pick, Duty. I know you did.
bold.
That's a bold pick right there.
I'll have to face the Mighty Owls. We'll see how that matchup works.
This next matchup, Tootie. I know you're a big fan of this 13 seed here.
Yeah.
Versus one of the best defensive teams in college basketball, but they struggle to score at times throughout. In every game, they have stretches where they struggle to score, and in some games they've struggled to score for the entire 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 Tennessee versus 13 Louisiana. Tootie, lead us off with this one.
All right, so Louisiana, they're a really good rebounding team. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and also obviously in the tournament. Tennessee's defense is really, really strong, and I've been battling with this matchup a lot. My gut tells me to go with Tennessee, but I'm going to be rolling with Louisiana in this pick. I think Jordan Brown, he's a transfer from Arizona and Nevada. He was a former 5-star recruit. He's a kind of like I think he's either averaging 18 to 20 a game and 10 rebounds. He's a guy he's one of the top mid-major players in the country. Being a forward that could score like that kind of helps him in this type of matchup. Let's see the Raging Cajuns give Tennessee some problems. I don't like Tennessee.
Okay. I'm in the same boat as you, Tootie. I really struggled with this matchup because I want to root for Louisiana, but I don't know if they have enough to get past the talent that's on Tennessee's team.
Yeah.
They have to play almost a perfect game to beat that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they pull it off. I think Tennessee squeaks out of this round.
Yeah. I think
this one's definitely going to be a little bit closer. The Tennessee's defense is really going to set the tone and really decide how the pace of this game is going to go. I think this game will probably be within like 6 points or less, I'd say, and it'll probably be Tennessee squeaking by.
Mm-hmm.
I also agree. I got Tennessee beating out Louisiana. I just don't see Louisiana being outscore the defensive pressure that Tennessee is going to give.
Okay. All right. This next team has lost a bandwagoner. He bailed in the conference tournament. They're struggling down the stretch. They're only really elite at home, and even at the end of the year, that failed them. You got number 6 Kentucky versus 11 Providence. Dan, how do you feel about your ex-favorite team in college basketball? It was a messy breakup. You didn't even let them know.
It
You
wasn't
just pulled the
messy,
carpet out from under them.
I said, that's it. We're going with a different team. We're going with Creighton. Sorry, your roommate's hotter. It just is what it is.
Not only did you leave them, but you left them for someone else in their conference.
It just happens to be like that sometimes. But no, I like Kentucky in this matchup. Like you said, like Providence has struggled as late. They're not built to be a tournament team. They're a regular season king. It just is what it is. They don't do well on the road, and that's all the tournament is on the road. And it's like a Kentucky beating them out.
I think Providence could have won a game in the tournament if they had a better matchup.
Yeah, hadn't been
This is a
against
bad
Kentucky.
matchup for them. Kentucky is playing well as of the last month of the season. They're on a roll. They're not as hot as Duke, but they're playing good basketball. And unfortunately, it's just Providence just doesn't have enough to win this game. I'm rolling Kentucky.
I'm also gonna triple down on the Wildcats, man. The Wildcats, they have the pedigree, they have the history, they've been here before. They're probably just gonna take care of business like usual. Just another game for them. I'm gonna go with the Wildcats in the tournament, make it out of the first round.
Judy?
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Ooh.
I would say that Providence had a really bad loss against Seton Hall at home, but that game against Villanova, they were getting blown out, and they came all the way back. Or was it Villanova? I can't remember. They played it in the Big East. I forgot who they played. They were getting blown out, and they came all the way back and almost
I'm
won.
90% certain it was Villanova.
Yeah, and Providence has a good team. Last year they were on a run in the tournament. I think they had to play Kansas and lost, and played them pretty close. Jared Bynum was their guard, and he's back. Bryce Hopkins, fun fact, he played at Kentucky. He transferred from Kentucky to Providence, and he was in the running for Big East Player of the Year this year. I think Ed Cooley's got a really good squad that plays well together, and they'll play up to the moment when tournament time comes. They kind of did the same thing last year. They weren't this glamorous pick last year, and they made a run. So I'm pulling for Providence to make a big upset here against Kentucky and maybe find some success in the next round.
Okay. All right. This next matchup, I don't think this is going to be a good game. You got a Kansas State team that's played well all year, versus a Montana State team that just has been not inconsistent this year, but when you look at them, the way they play against like the spread and betting odds, they are one of the worst teams in the country to bet on. And I just think, well, basketball wise, this is a bad matchup for Montana State. Kansas State is too good of a team scoring the basketball. I don't think Montana State's going to be able to keep up. I think this is a game that in the first half is going to seem close. Maybe Kansas State goes into halftime with a 10-point lead. This game is going to end with a 25-point Kansas State win.
Yeah, I can't imagine this game ending another way other than the Kansas State blowout, to be honest with you. I really can't. This Montana State team is just outmatched top to bottom. They're just it's going to be no contest, Kansas State.
That's interesting. Montana State was another team that I had earlier in the year that I talked about. I think Kansas State wins this game, but there's two things that, people can watch in this game. Kansas State is terrible with the basketball. They turn the ball over more than anybody in the Big 12, and they just are very, very sloppy. They've played sloppy towards the end of the season as well. Maybe they won some games here and there, but they just turn the ball over like crazy, and they take some bad shots as well.
A lot of bad shots, yeah.
If they turn the ball over a bunch and shoot a lot of bad shots, Montana State has a pretty formidable defense. And the one player on their team to watch, and this is the second thing, people could watch in this game, Raquan Battle, if this is his time to shine. 6'6" shooting guard, plays with a ton of confidence, almost reminds me of like a taller Jordan Clarkson type of player. This would be a perfect game for him to drop 30 and really, play close with Kansas State if they were to get an upset. I don't think that's going to happen, an upset, but I think he could put up some big numbers and get himself a look into maybe the draft or to be a big time transfer next year.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Dan, did you make your pick?
No. But I was gonna take K-State. Like again, I like them going in. I don't think K-State's gonna go far in the tourney, but I don't see them falling here.
Okay. This next matchup, I think this is a matchup of two teams. It's USC in the NCAA tournament They don't play well in the NCAA tournament. This team is, I have zero confidence in them. But then at the same turn, Michigan State did not end the season well. They're not playing great basketball. This is two teams that barely made the tournament, skidded by off their resume, and this is going to be I mean, could be a good game to watch, but I think I'm going to take USC to win this game, but whatever team wins this game will be losing to Marquette next round.
JT, who did Michigan State drop their last game?
The Ohio State University.
Yeah, they did.
And for that reason, because they were able, they stumbled against us, and our program isn't exactly great, but they probably should have beat us in our conference tournament. So I like the odds of them dropping to USC here as well. So we'll take USC.
I'm also taking USC. I haven't been a fan of what I've been seeing from Michigan State as of late. Not that USC's done much better, especially in March, but I'm taking USC. It's a toss-up. Who's going to be the worst team that day?
I like, when in doubt, pick the best coach in this situation. I'm rolling with Tom Izzo. This might not be his strongest squad he's had in the last couple of years, but in a team where it's almost like a rock fight, or in a matchup when it's almost like a rock fight where they're kind of just battling it out, I think Michigan State's shooting will come out in the end, and they have a Hall of Fame coach behind them to kind of mentor them in the right way to pull out a win. So I got Michigan State.
Okay. And then the last matchup of the East, number 2 Marquette versus my favorite conference champion, Vermont. Just is what it is, Tootie. UMass Law was not destined to be in the tournament.
It was awful.
Dude, it's Marquette or nothing, man. Like if Marquette, I can't think of any situation where Marquette drops this game in the first round. They're going to play the winner of the 8-9. It's already determined. Just set the bracket.
I have a hard time going against Marquette in this matchup because I love me some Shaka Smart. I think he's a great coach. He hasn't since he's left VCU. He's been getting this Marquette program back to that standard. But I think this is the year he gets some wins in March, and I see them taking down Vermont.
Yeah, I like Marquette as well. They got the Big East Player of the Year, Tyler Kolek. Kind of, they talked about on the broadcast in the Big East tournament. He plays like Billy Donovan back in the day when he used to play for Providence. So I kind of like that comparison. Real heady point guard, knows what he's doing, puts people in the right spots. So I got Marquette easily.
Okay.
I'm also taking Marquette in this matchup.
Boys, the Midwest. Yeah. Number 1 seed Houston versus Northern Kentucky.
I think this is an easy pick. Houston's probably the best team in the country.
I think people are hopping off this Houston bandwagon because the loss to Memphis, but the reality is Marcus Sasser did not play in that game. They said they rested him. He's going to be 100% for the tournament. Don't sleep on this Houston team. Everyone's jumping ship. Oh, their best player's hurt. No, he's going to be healthy. Northern Kentucky is not the team to win. It doesn't matter even if he's not healthy in this game. They're still taking down Northern Kentucky. It's going to be fine. Houston is the best team in college basketball this year.
Hell yeah, they are. I'll triple down on Houston. They got a pretty good team play that they run there in Houston. So they can probably distribute the ball without the star player on the court. Even if you weren't to be there, to probably still be able to stretch this team out enough to be able to edge out a win. They're not just the number 1 team because of one player, but if that one player is on the court, I expect this game to be even uglier than it probably will be.
And it's the defense. They have an elite defense in college basketball, and in the tournament, defense matters because they also have dudes that can go get a bucket.
Yeah.
When you pair that up, that's a success for making a run in the tournament.
Yeah, it pretty much won't get any easier than this.
Yeah, I agree with Houston winning this first matchup, but I will say if Marcus Sasser isn't ready to go in this game or the games after that, if he re-aggravates it, it's going to be a tough time for them to win.
I'd say after the
Okay.
first round, probably after the game against the 16 seed. If they have to go deeper into the tournament without Sasser, it's probably going to spell trouble for the team.
I think just looking at this next matchup, number 8 Iowa versus 9 Auburn. I'm not in love with either of these teams. Iowa is wildly inconsistent. They have not played well, especially at the end of the season. Auburn's going to win this game, especially with this game being played in Alabama. Auburn takes this one home against Iowa. It's in Birmingham. The War Eagles are gonna come.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
I
packed
agree.
out. Iowa's
It's
going down
basically-
here.
I got
It's basically
Auburn as
a home
well.
game.
Got to roll with you got to roll with the best coach in the situation. You know, Fran McCaffrey's a good coach, but I'm taking Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers.
The Auburn Tigers. War Eagle.
Dan?
Oh, I also like Auburn in this matchup, just because, like you said, like it's too close to be a home game. Or to basically be a home game with enough fans are going to show up.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
This next matchup. This is a tricky one. Okay.
A little tricky.
You got one of the best offenses in college basketball. They score 80 points a game. The problem is they damn near give up 80 points a game.
Ooh, okay.
And you're going up against Drake, whose best player had offers to go to Florida, multiple other D1 schools, and chose to go to Drake and play for his dad. This tough matchup, Tootie. Give me some insight into this one.
Yeah, I mean, Drake's one of the hottest teams in the country, especially at the mid-major level. You know, winning their conference tournament against Bradley, who beat them earlier at the end of the season at home, and then they beat them in the championship game. I really like Drake in this matchup. They they have a lot of seniors, but they're led by Tucker DeVries. A lot of guys, if you follow the mid-major kind of social media guys, like they talk about him as being like a Luka Doncic type of player. A lot of kind of slow-mo dribbling, step back threes, facilitator. He's about 6'7". He can kind of play that point guard to small forward range area. Real high level IQ. I just think that Miami's one of those teams. Isaiah Wong, he was supposed to be this big time player. He was I think he was the ACC player of the year this year, but it's just, he was supposed to be really good like 2 years ago. And, Miami just, to me, is just not strong enough to get over this. I think Drake is just a better team all around. I don't think just because they're a 12 seed and Miami's 5, I don't think it means anything.
I'm rolling with you here. I'm also taking Drake. I think this is going to be a high scoring game, as all Miami games are. But in the end, Drake's going to get the couple stops that need to be gotten. Drake pulls off the upset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Drake might be a bracket buster. I think Drake's also going to pull off the upset here, and they're gonna get the close win. If they're playing up against an offense that is really good at scoring, but a defense that gives up just as many points, that defense is going to crumble under pressure. You have to be able to play defensive march if you expect to make a good run of the tournament.
I'm still taking Miami in this matchup. It's just, I really like this Miami team. The Drake team is super hot, but I think that Miami still manages to edge this one out.
Okay. All right. This next matchup here, 4 versus 13, an Indiana team that has struggled as of late, hasn't played up to that potential that they expected. They got blown out by Iowa at the end of the year, lost to Penn State in the tournament. Now, you could argue Penn State's one of the hottest teams in basketball right now. They're shooting the lights out of the basketball from 3-point range. That's another team that's probably going to upset someone in the tournament, but they're going up against Kent State, whose coached at Indiana a couple years back. All right, going for a little bit of revenge. Fell on the sword for some of the stuff that was happening in that program. Had to work his way back. He's at Kent State now. Kent State played fantastic through their conference tournament. They're hot right now. Give me Kent State with the upset over Indiana. I know Tracy Jackson Davis is the best player in this matchup, but I just think Kent State's going to come with some fire.
I love that pick, JT. Indiana is that type of team. They could win this game and make a total run in the tournament, go to the Elite Eight, maybe even Final Four. I'm not even kidding with Tracy Jackson Davis and Jalen Hood Schifino. Mike Woodson's doing a really good job in Indiana right now. So that team is good. And I think they are a tournament team. But I just think Kent State's defense and the way they just get up in you, they have 5 guys that can score double digits in their lineup. I think they're just way too versatile, and it's going to be a tough task for Indiana to kind of beat. It's worth mentioning Kent State lost at Houston by like 7 points, and then they lost at Gonzaga by like 4. So they played some of the best teams in the country really, really close at their place. So give me the Golden Flashes.
All right, it's a pretty solid pick, and I think I'm going to ride with it. I think if this team has been able to, is able to do what they've shown they can do with some of the better teams in the country, and they can play some of those closer teams as well, then I feel like they can probably edge this one out and try to be a little bit of a bracket buster as well.
I'm still riding with this Indiana boys. I like them, super scrappy. I know they lost a very close one to Penn State, but I just don't see them dropping another big game like that to Kent here. So I got Indiana at least winning this round, moving on to the next game.
But I do want to highlight Tootie's point. This is 2 teams built for the tournament.
Yeah.
These are both teams that honestly, Kent State could be a 13 seed that could make it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Like this team is deep. They play elite defense. I think this is a team to watch. I think give Houston a run for their money down the road.
Yeah. I think so too.
This next matchup, I think this is a bad matchup. I don't like this one at all. You got number 6 Iowa State, who is maybe the most inconsistent team in the bracket, versus Pittsburgh, who looked like they were gonna take over the ACC near the end of the year, and then decided we're trash. We're gonna lose a ton of games to end the year. Squeeze into the tournament in the playing game. I'm gonna give Pittsburgh the win because I think Iowa State fumbles the bag here. But neither one of these teams move on from next round.
Yeah, I agree that neither one of these teams are going to move on from next round, but I'm not going to be taking Pittsburgh in this matchup. I feel like this isn't one of the games that Iowa's going to come out and be super inconsistent. I feel like they might pull together, and they're gonna keep it close, and then they're gonna pull away because this Iowa team is it's built a little bit better than this Pittsburgh team.
I agree with Bruce. I like Iowa State in this. They've had some decent wins towards the end of the season. I just think it's a talent factor here. I don't think Pitt is really going to be up for this moment. They also, I'm not sure if their big man Federico is going to be playing. He didn't play last night, and that's the reason why it was so close. And that's a big factor if you don't have a guy that can guard multiple positions and then the rim. So I like Iowa State to win this game and have the potential to win the next.
Okay.
I'm just saying, y'all hated on Pitt last time. They were a 12-point underdogs. They came out and they fucking squeaked one out. I'm riding with Pitt again. Iowa gets in too much foul trouble. Their guards that score all their points on these big games end up sitting on the bench. They get in the early foul trouble all the time. I'm taking Pitt. It just is what it is.
Dan, but you throw any Pittsburgh team.
What?
You throw any team from Pennsylvania.
Dan, I'm just gonna come in here. I'm just coming in here. I'm letting you know. I'm still hating on Pitt.
That's fair. I understand.
Okay, I'm picking Pitt to win this game, but I'm still a Pitt hater. Let's not get it twisted. I don't like either of these teams.
I understand. I don't have Pitt winning the next round, but I had them beating fucking Iowa. So
But this next matchup, honestly, this could be a good game. Kennesaw State likes to get up and down the court. They play a very fast-paced game, but they're playing against just a superior opponent here. Xavier takes this one. I don't see a way that Xavier allows Kennesaw to play at such a speed that they take themselves out of the game. I think Xavier pulls this one out.
I think Xavier is going to come into this matchup with their track shoes on. I think they're going to be able to run up and down the court with Kennesaw State for a little while, be able to keep up with them, and them kind of get a little bit shook at their game plan. Run isn't working, and it's going to make them uncomfortable, and they're going to try something different. It's going to slow the pace down of the game. So where Xavier can just take control of the game and then dictate how the game is going to be played. So I'll take Xavier in this matchup.
I like Xavier. I don't think Kennesaw State's really built for this. This is the first time they made it to the tournament in school history, So congratulations to that, but I just can't see them losing to. I can't see Xavier losing to a team like this.
No, I can't see it.
yeah, I'm also taking Xavier in this matchup. Like they said, like Xavier's just a better team than Kennesaw State. It is what it is. I just don't see that Xavier being as dominant as they were all season following to Kennesaw State.
Okay. All right. This next matchup, I'm a little torn on this one. This one I think is a tough matchup here. You got 7th-ranked Texas A&M, who has some pretty good wins throughout the year, going up against a team that's shooting the lights out of the basketball, made a big run in the Big Ten tournament to be able to make the tournament. I think I'm gonna ride with Penn State here. I think Penn State gets the upset. They're just a little too hot right now.
Yeah, you got to ride with. Sometimes you just have to ride with the hot hand if you don't have the tournament. So I'll double down on Penn State and take them to at least get out of the first round.
I really like. Yeah, go, Judy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I like Penn State. I like Seth Lundy. He's been playing really well towards the end of the season. 6'7", 6'6", guard forward type of guy. And it just seems like they play with a lot of passion. Like they want to be out there. It looked like they really, really wanted to win the Big Ten. And they were pretty upset when they eventually lost. Texas A&M, they're going to play with a lot of fire. Buzz Williams does a really good job down there. But I think we talked about Missouri, that Missouri-Utah State game being one of the better, more competitive games in the tournament. This is the next one up. This is going to be a really, really good game.
Yeah, agreed. Dan?
So, I really like this Penn State team going into a tournament, but I actually got Texas A&M winning this. I think that Penn State has squeaked by in a lot of these games with a lot of close, buzzer beaters, and they're winning a lot of close, 2-point games. They lost, a 2-point game. I think I think their luck has run out. I think Texas A&M is still going to secure the dub. I think they're a very good team. They play in the SEC. They had to play against Bama. I think that they're more ready to play in this matchup than Penn State is. So I got Texas A&M winning.
Damn, Dan, you're going to turn your back on your alma mater like that?
Just sometimes you got to ride what you got to ride. You understand?
All right. This next game, we just talked about, big 3-point shooting from Penn State. This next team, 15 Colgate, is the best 3-point shooting team in college basketball. But unfortunately for them, they're matched up against Texas. And in the end, Texas is experienced, they're battle-hardened, and they're rolling. Give me Texas.
Yeah, hook 'em horns, man. I expect them to come in here and kind of just be just a dominant force in this game. it's going to be like from the tip that this game is going to be in control for Texas, and they're going to get a nice clinical win here, and they're just going to move on to the next round, easy breezy.
Yeah, I like Texas in this matchup too. I would just say, of course, I'm pulling for Colgate. My dad went there; he's alma mater. I pull for Colgate. I follow all their games throughout the year because of that. But I would like to see, or I would like to say that Colgate covers the spread wherever that ends up. I think Colgate can cover this spread because of the shooting and the experience on their team.
I'm also taking Texas. I think they're a better team than Colgate is, and they're ready for the tournament.
All right. I also want to point out the Midwest is set up to have Texas go against possibly Houston in the Elite Eight to see who goes to get to play in Houston for the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
That's
hot.
That is hot. That is it's an interstate matchup right there.
Not only that, but if Texas A&M wins, Texas wins, we're going to get to see Texas A&M in the round of 32, and then possibly Texas Houston to see who goes to the Final Four.
Those are some potential heater games that are coming up.
Little heater interstate games, make it a little fun in the tournament. I like it. Now rolling on to the West, number 1 Kansas, arguably the most dominant team in college basketball. They have a ton of big time wins this year. They're more tested than anybody in the country. And they're going up against Howard. This is not a game. This is not a competition. This is a 40-point loss for Howard. We'll see you in the next round, Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas all the way. Nothing else to be said.
Not really. No, this is just going to be a dominant performance to open the tournament for them.
Dan, you
I agree. I agree.
Danny,
Kansas.
I didn't know if you were going to come with something crazy. I just
Oh, calm down. That's for later.
Had to check.
That's for later.
What's going to happen later?
Don't worry about it.
This next round, next game, 8-9 matchup, Arizona versus Illinois. You got an Illinois team that's been a little inconsistent this year versus an Arkansas team that was supposed to be a lot better. Now, Arkansas dealt with some injuries throughout the year. Those players are back. I think Arkansas dominates this game. Arkansas moves on to play Kansas.
I agree. I like Arkansas in this matchup. Nick Smith, he's one of the best freshman point guards in the country. Anthony Black, he's just a fun player to watch. 6'7", really a true point guard in his own. A lottery pick, in my opinion. I think Arkansas actually really gets up in them and wins by a large margin.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, the team play is going to be really big in this matchup. I think they really got to move the ball around and distribute properly. But Arkansas, I think they could probably shoot this team out of the gym.
Dan, you're being real quiet. You're sitting there. You're kind of lagging us down.
I'm
Coming
sorry.
hot.
Coming hot.
Anything for us? What do you got?
I like Arkansas in this matchup. I'm not a big fan of what Illy's doing. They look soft in the tournament, in the Big Ten tournament. I'm riding with Arkansas, sending them to the next round.
Okay. This next matchup, maybe the most low-scoring matchup to be set in the tournament. You got two very good defensive teams about to battle it out. Aiden Mahaney and St. Mary's are the 5 seed battling against the 12 seed of VCU.
Oof.
It's gonna be a low scoring game. This game is gonna come down to who takes the better shots and who turns the ball over the least. Both these teams are just so good on the defensive end. I see this being a low 60s, maybe even a high 50s game.
I mean, I don't think it'll be that low.
You don't?
No, I don't think it'll be that low. I think not in March, man. I mean, maybe towards maybe closer to the middle of the year if these two teams were to match up, or maybe right at the end if someone's on a skid, maybe I could see it being that low of a defensive game. But I don't think I don't think it's going to be quite like that. I think I think we'll see a typical score like 70 mid 70s.
I just think there's the way these two teams play. They control every possession. They want to try to get the best shot possible. They're willing to go 30 seconds every possession. But I think St. Mary's pulls this one out. But this is not this is not going to be a high scoring game. There's just no way.
Yeah,
I like-
I really like VCU in this matchup. Actually, I'm surprised they came in at a 12 seed. I think they're a lot better than a 12 seed. I think St. Mary's and Gonzaga, just teams in that conference, struggle when they play against more athletic, longer athletes. And that's really what VCU is filled with. They have a bunch of guys that can kind of just do it all, Swiss Army knife type of players. Not one true, top scorer, not one true, assist leader or defensive guy. Everybody kind of just does their job, at the same rate. And they've looked impressive beating Dayton, a Dayton team that was preseason ranked this year, supposed to be a pretty good team. They handily beat them in their conference championship game. Really were in control the whole time. I like VCU in this matchup just because they're a lot more athletic. I feel like they're going to get up in St. Mary's Grill at tournament time. That's what you need. And VCU, just like Florida Atlantic and Kent State, those are my three underdogs that I have to make a run in this tournament.
All right.
I agree with you, Tootie. I think VCU is gonna be a little bit of a shocker here. I think they're gonna come out. They're gonna be ready to play. So I'm gonna take VCU here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking St. Mary's in this matchup. I'm just, I think that, they're still the better team they're still a much better team than VCU is. They got a very solid defensive unit. I think they're gonna keep VCU from being able to score. And like JT said, it's gonna be a slow game. And I just don't think VCU has the offense to counteract St. Mary's defense.
All right. This next game, the Gales of Iona, 13 seed, going up against UConn. This is a UConn team that, at the start of the year, looked like they were going to be a surefire 1 seed. They had that stretch right at the start of the year, lost a bunch of games in a row, but they got back on track late, hit their run. I think they roll past Iona here.
I think UConn is gonna fumble the bag, and they're gonna drop to Iona here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would have to disagree, Bruce. I got UConn way more athletic. Coach Hurley's going to be screaming up and down the sidelines. I think UConn's going to destroy Iona. And Rick Pitino's going to get a different job after this year.
I know one person who's got my back on this.
Yeah, do you?
Is that you, Daniel?
It is, man. I do have Iona in this matchup. I was doing some research. I'm just not a big fan of this UConn team when it comes time for March. And this Iona team, they've been hot lately. They've been playing very good basketball, and they're very similar. When you look at the statistics, they're very similar in like where they kind of rank offensive, defensively. But I think Iona's got the edge in this one, so I'm gonna take Iona over UConn.
Yeah,
I know JT hates it. I know JT hates it, but go
Here's
ahead.
the only difference. You're talking about, the offense and their defense. They are playing nobodies. Iona's conference is not good. One of the worst conferences in college basketball. And they are on the same. They're putting up similar stats to a UConn team that's playing in the Big East in one of the better tournaments in college or conferences in college basketball. No, absolutely not.
Awful.
Dan, I'll die with you on this hill, bro.
You can hate me for all you want, but I think this is my upset that I got picked out for the tourney.
Next matchup here, we got the 6 seed TCU going up against Arizona State or Nevada, likely Arizona State from what we're seeing in this game. Now, Nevada's making a little bit of a comeback in this half. They've dropped the lead, but as of right now, Nevada's losing 58-37. So we're expecting Arizona State to not blow a 26-point halftime lead to lose one of the first 4 games. So it's likely going to be Arizona State versus TCU.
Yeah.
What you
I
thinking,
like
Judy?
I like Arizona State in this. It just talked about with UConn, like the Hurley brother, that Bobby Hurley's coaching at Arizona State. I think they have the potential to make the upset. I think a lot of teams picked Nevada to beat them, and so even though they were ranked a better seed, or not better seed, but they might have just kind of squeaked in and been kind of favored in a way. I think that a lot of people thought Nevada was going to beat them, and they're showing they can beat a team like that. And once you win one game in the tournament, you can kind of get hot. And I could see them beating TCU and giving the next team in that next round a tough time and eventually going and losing.
Okay. Dan?
I still got TCU. Whoever comes out of this matchup, I still got TCU coming out over top of them. I liked what TCU was able to put together towards the end of the season, especially whenever they had some of their players who were injured. Earlier in the season, come back, they looked real hot, and so I think that they're a good, solid matchup. For whoever they face in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, Dan. I think TCU they caught the injury bug at a very inconvenient time. They were able to play through it and show that this team has a little bit of depth on the bench. It's not just the starters. These guys they got other people who can make plays and make shots. So they're able to show their resilience. And with some of their starters coming back off of injury and going to be back for the tournament, I think this TCU team is have a little more firepower than some of the other teams are ready for in the tournament. So I'll take TCU here.
I think TCU actually showed the exact opposite of that. The second Miles got hurt, they lost every single game. They showed they did not have depth.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he is back, this team is starter reliant. Bobby Hurley is going to have his team ready to go. Or
Yep.
if Nevada comes back, Nevada is going to have just mounted one of the biggest comebacks in tournament history. So they're going to be coming in hot. I'm rolling with the 11 seed here. I'm rolling with Tootie. TCU is just this. They're just not it this year.
And to add to that, JT, they lost their energy guy, Eddie Lampkin. He's transferring. He's their backup center. He left the team before the tournament started, before their season ended, due to personal reasons, and then he just entered into the portal. So, I mean, that's a guy off the bench. He was averaging like 6 points, 5 rebounds. He was kind of a big, burly center, energy guy. They're going to miss that in the tournament time. So I can see TCU having a real quick exit.
All right. This next matchup, Grand Canyon won their conference. Kind of on a little bit of a run, but they're running up against the offensive juggernaut that is Gonzaga. They're not going to have enough to take down this team. Gonzaga's hot right now. After that loss to St. Mary's, near the end of the year, that clicked a light on this team. This team is playing a lot better. Give me Gonzaga to roll here.
Yeah,
You're definitely right. Gonzaga definitely woke up after that loss. So I expect this team that's been here in the tournament before and has such a rich history of being able to make it to different levels of this tournament, they're going to be able to get out of the first round without a problem with how high-powered their offense is.
I also got Gonzaga winning this matchup.
All right, let's roll on. The next matchup, we're back to the Mountain West. We're talking about another Mountain West team, 10 seed Boise State versus 7 seed Northwestern. Northwestern did not have a hot end of the year. And Boise State's been that consistent team all year. They don't go on big runs, but they also don't turn the ball over. So Boise State likes to play close games. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Boise State pulls it out.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see Boise State also doing that.
Yeah, Boise State has a pretty formidable defense, but I just like Northwestern. They're a fun team. They got a fun coach. I think it's Chris Collins. He's Doug Collins' son. He's really revitalized that entire program over there at Northwestern. Boo Buie, he's their kind of like glue guy that makes them go. I like Northwestern.
Okay. Dan?
I like this Boise State, when they were going into their conference tourney, but looking at between the two matchups, I picked Northwestern. I think they're just a little bit of a better team, and I see them edging out a close win over Boise State.
Okay. Bruce, did you throw out your pick here?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
agreed with you.
Okay. All right. And this last matchup, UNC Asheville, 15 seed versus 2 UCLA. Now, yeah, UCLA's missing their best defender, but in this game, it's not going to matter. Now, I do think if there is a 15 seed that's going to win, UNC Asheville is probably that team, but I don't think it happens this year. UCLA moves.
Yeah, UCLA is just too consistent of a team to drop a game. But again, I think you're right. Like if there was going to be one team at the 15 slot that was gonna bust everyone's bracket in the first round of the tournament, it would probably be Asheville.
Yeah, I agree. I think UCLA should win handily. I do think UNC Asheville gives them a tough time in the first half. It's really all up to their center, Drew Pember. He's the best player in that conference, one player of the year, averaging 20 and 11, kind of plays center for them. And a fun fact about UNC Asheville, they get to the line more than anybody else in the tournament. And they knock down their free throws at a pretty good rate. Drew Pember, he's a big part of that. He likes getting down to the lane. He likes drawing fouls and getting the opposition in foul trouble. Well, they don't have their starting center. Now their backup, Mac Etienne, he's a pretty good player, but he was in foul trouble this past game. And then their other center, their third string center that they were using was in foul trouble against Arizona, where he eventually fouled out. So I think UCLA has a pretty easy chance of winning this game, but it could get real close.
Yeah, I think it could. I mean, Pember really gave me a bad taste in my mouth, and the reason I don't think they will pull off the upset, just the way he played against Campbell in that conference tournament. I know they stormed back late and they won that game, but just watching that game, he played that game so soft for 30 minutes of that game. And if he comes out and does that against UCLA, against that better comp, they're going to be down 35, and you're not going to be able to come back.
Yeah.
Yep, I think UCLA is going to, beat UNC Asheville. Like you said, me and JT were watching that game, and he just looked like he did not want to be there, did not want to play in that game. And if he brings that same energy to the UCLA game in the tournament, it's just it's going to be a UCLA victory.
Yeah. Well, that's the first round. We'll see y'all boys in a couple of days. This has been the Boys and Ball podcast. If you like the pod, hit the like button, subscribe.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.